Good afternoon, students. We have already discussed about metal casting process. So, casting is the process or metal forming process where molten metal is poured into the mold. With the help of pattern, the mold is prepared. So, now to get molten metal, we use different types of furnace. The most important furnace in casting process is cupola furnace. So today we will discuss about this cupola furnace. For melting of cast iron in foundry, the cupola furnace is used. The diagrammatic sketch of this furnace is a cross-sectional view of cupola. Now we will see the diagram. So this is the diagram of the cupola furnace. So you can see this furnace is raised on the foundation. So this column or leg supports the cupola furnace. At the bottom there is a door. So this door can be opened. This is closed with the help of a prop. So by removing the prop, the door can be opened so that the residues can be removed and rearranged. So you can see different parts which we will discuss in detail. First, you just see all the parts. So this is the charging door. Through the charging door, the raw material is pushed into the furnace. With the help of charging platform, this raw material is pushed into the furnace. So we will discuss all these parts one by one. So the parts of cupola furnace are shell, foundation, tuyer, wind belt, blower, metal tapping hole, slag hole, charging door, chimney or stack. So now we will discuss all these parts. In the diagram you have seen the body is called the shell. So shell is in the form of a hollow vertical cylinder made up of strong mild steel plates with a lining of refractory bricks, and below clay is given. The plates are riveted or welded at the seams. At the bottom, clay is given. On top of the clay, a tapered sand bed is provided, and this bed is act as a refractory lining from the bottom. The bottom door, that is a drop door, because it is hinged to a supporting leg and is supported by a prop. By removing the prop, the door will drop down. So I have already told for foundation we use steel columns or brick walls which support the whole cell. Next is tuyer. Tuyers are the openings through which forced air enter into the furnace chamber from the wind chamber with the help of blowers. We are using a blower to drive the atmospheric air into the furnace chamber. So from this blower, the air enters the furnace with the help of tuyers. So tuyers are nothing but openings in the cell of the furnace. So these openings helps the air to enter into the chamber of the furnace. Tuyers are provided all around the cell and have a definite numbers and size depending upon the amount of air required. We know for combustion we need fuel and air. So air is the most important element. So for moving the air from the atmosphere into the furnace chamber, we use a wind chamber, a blower and tuyer. So blower drags the air from the atmosphere into the wind chamber, and through the tuyers it enters into the cell or the chamber of the furnace. So what is a wind belt or wind chamber? A wind chamber or a wind belt encircle the cupola cell at a place little above the bottom of the cell. This belt is connected to the furnace blower by means of a blast pipe. So from the blower, air comes and enters into this wind belt or wind chamber, which encircle the cupola, and in the cupola cell there are holes known as tuyers. So through these holes or openings, air enters into the combustion chamber. So already I have told blower is nothing but it is used to create vacuum, to attract air and force the air into the wind belt. Blower is used to ensure availability of adequate air throughout the coke bed. So on top of the sand bed there is a coke bed. So this blower ensures availability of adequate air. That means the capacity of blower is designed considering the size and the capacity of the cupola, the amount of air required for the combustion. Next is metal tapping hole. Metal tapping hole exists just above the sand bed. Another one is slag hole. So through metal tapping hole, the molten metal comes out. But the slag, as it is lighter in weight, normally it comes high at the higher level on the top of the molten metal. So slag hole is kept at a height of about 25 to 30 centimeter from the bottom of the cupola and located above metal tap hole. Normally, it exists in a position opposite to the metal tap hole because through the slag hole, slag comes out. As slag is lighter in weight, it remains on the top of the molten metal. So, this hole must be above the metal tapping hole. Next is charging door, charging platform and charging door. So charging platform is of robust mild steel construction supported on 4 strong steel legs and is provided with a ladder. So on top of this platform there is a charging door in the cell from where the charge means the raw material which will enter into the combustion chamber of the furnace. So that consists of pig iron, scrap iron, coke and flux. So these pig iron, scrap iron, coke and flux is entered into the furnace through the charging door and it is fed with the help of a charging platform. So as we know, the pig iron or scrap iron is to be melted and for melting to create heat, coke is used and air is supplied through blower, wind belt and tuyer for combustion and flux is used to make slag out of impurities kept in the raw material pig iron and scrap iron. Next is chimney or stack. So chimney is provided to escape the waste gases to the atmosphere. The top of the chimney is provided with a mesh screen and a spark arrestor. So this mesh and spark arrestor helps the chimney to purify the waste gas. So now we will discuss about working of the cupola furnace. While discussing about the construction of cupola furnace, we have already discussed some part of working of this furnace. But once again, we will discuss about the working of cupola furnace where it will be clear. As we have discussed that cupola furnace is basically nothing but a vertical cylindrical body, that is cell, where charging doors are there and at the bottom there is a drop door. On top of the sand bed there is a metal tap hole and in the other side above this there is a slag hole. Then for supplying of air a blower is used. Blower is connected to wind belt with the help of a pipe. Next, tuyers or openings are there for feeding of air into the furnace. So now we will discuss all about the operation or working. To operate the cupola, first the drop doors at the bottom are closed and a sand bed with a gentle slope towards the metal tap hole is rammed. keeping a slope towards the metal tap hole so that the molten metal will flow through this hole. Then a coke bed of suitable height is prepared above the bottom sand bed and ignited through the tap hole. When the coke bed is properly ignited, alternate charge flux and coke is fed into through the charge door. So only coke was ignited. Now to melt the metal has to be fed. So alternate charge. Charge is pig iron or scrap iron, the material which is to be melted. Next, flux and coke is fed through the charge door until the level of the charging door. Then the air blast is turned on and forced air comes through the tuyeres. Once sufficient amount of air comes into the combustion chamber, combustion occurs rapidly within the coke bed. So, once combustion started, within 5 to 10 minutes after the blast is turned on, molten metal is deposited near the metal tap hole. When enough molten metal is deposited, the slag is bent off to the slag hole before opening the tap hole. First, the slag hole is opened, the slag is collected, then the tap hole is opened, the molten metal is collected in the ladle and then transferred to the cavity into which it is to be poured. So this is all about the construction and working of a cupola furnace. In short, cupola furnace consists of a vertical cylindrical shell which is lining with refractory bricks, and there are different zones of combustion where with the help of coke and air the metal is molten, and with the help of flux the impurities are collected as slag and the molten metal is collected to be poured into the mold for necessary casting. So in the next video we will discuss about crucible furnace, another type of furnace which is also used for casting process.